Yeah, I thought at work today. It was about like, like soccer pitches or like a cricket match or a football stadium or just any place you've ever seen like a riot before a concert. Somebody gets trampled. There's people that fight. Somebody gets shot over something. I mean, all the stuff that you hear in the news. We invented sports. Sports are an invention. They kind of brought us together to do something. They're as old as time, if you want to call it that. However the hell old that is. We don't sit there and call sports ignorant. We don't sit there and say football's ignorant. We, support our SEC Georgia Bulldogs very proudly, and we wave our little banners, and it builds community. But then people sit there and they make fun of religion. They say that's outdated, that's old, that's somebody made religion up, a Jewish guy walking on water or a witch in a cauldron, it's all woo, it's all made up nonsense. But then if it serves a purpose psychologically for a certain group, and that group then, that psychological thing that helps serve creates community, and then you go into like a city and they have a lot of Catholics, a lot of Christianity, a lot of spiritual practice, and the city is very safe. It's very clean. The women and men are very well dressed, well spoken. A lot of the organizations within the cities, the towns, are allied with religious affiliations because those things help create better community. Even if somebody made religion up, if it still serves a valuable purpose to society and helped ingrain morality and create a more rational, logical, spiritual, intuitive, or empathetic mindset to a larger group, and that creates a better, society for your children to be raised in, then does it matter if it's made up? I think that's an interesting thing. I think it only matters when somebody takes it out of context and straps a bomb to their chest and then goes and blows somebody up. But I've lived however long I've lived, and I'm not going to state my age, and I've never seen one person harmed because of truly harmed, beaten to death, other than in other countries on the internet. Myself, I've never seen a single person that was ever harmed because of other than somebody telling somebody, having some little argument over, who was right about something. And the little argument, it passed, like a cloud in the sky. Yet we make sports stuff up, and that's acceptable, and we go to sports events, and people get wasted and they riot. Like some of the stuff you see in the news, ESPN, some huge, riot down in South America because, one team didn't like what the other team did, and they get wasted, and they, beat the shit out of each other, and, excuse my language. And that's acceptable because it doesn't have that thing that was found within a certain religious or spiritual practice. So it kind of makes you wonder, like, what is the thing that's found within that gets demonized in society? And maybe there is an underlying purpose, something that goes beyond the material, that's kind of, doesn't like that angle that belief structure is putting on certain things. And that's a very fascinating thing to think about. I don't get into conspiracy theories. I don't get into things like that because I feel like they're a waste of my energy as a living entity. I could be giving my all to something rather than living in fear of something. My time here on planet Earth, I would like to teach to the best of my ability others from my mistakes and learn from my mistakes and learn about others from their lives. But it just seems a little irrational to think that, things like made-up sports events, which were made up to help community, to bring us together. How do you want to bring a village together? We'll have the County A versus County B football match. That's a great idea. Now, how do you want to bring the community together? And you sit there and think of where communities, came out of, where they arose from. Some of the tribalism from the past, we still see that tribalism and things when people attack each other, but we see that tribalism, with some girl with a weave, like when I was in Atlanta, some girl with a weave pulling out a gun to kill some other girl for a weave. It's like, if you're where do you draw the line? It's like, why is one acceptable than the one that offers the thing with morality and a more rational mindset of how to deal with somebody? An eye for an eye type stuff makes the whole world blind, or Just stuff along that line, the golden rule. Why is that something that, why does that one get called stupid? We have these philosophers, these people, and they go out there and they just kind of blow smoke. And why are they throwing this stuff under the bus? What are they afraid of that they can't just leave well enough alone? It's like everything evolves if you think about it. The wheel, does somebody sit there and say when the wheel was first invented, or a plane, it's like, oh, the plane was this wooden, rickety thing put together. Did we just accept that was the final form of the thing? Or did we sit there and say, well, the thing's been put together, it's been invented by people make mistakes. Maybe everything is supposed to keep evolving. We're not living in the witch trial era where people are, having to suffer for the dark ages, the ignorance that was happening then. So start putting things into context and really start thinking. And you have to have true spirituality. You have to have a rational, logical mind. Look it up. Read about this stuff, please. You can challenge my opinion. I guarantee you I'm pretty well read on it. But what I mean, you don't have to accept somebody walked on water. What that's a more metaphor, you can see as a metaphor of if you fell out of the boat in your life. Let's say a girl fell out of the boat in her life. She's a drug addict. She fell out of the boat with her community. Trust in the people you need in your community to jump in the water to save your ass, to take you to your rehab, your NA, your AA, to help you to reintegrate, to better your life, to reintegrate you back into society. Doesn't that make a little more sense? Rather than some guy walked on, and I'm not insulting that, but what I'm getting at is just think about it. So I'm not standing up for one belief structure. I'm not atheist or theist. I'm just an open-minded free thinker. That's how I like to view myself. I'm spiritually open. I'm not an atheist or a theist. I'm not, I really try to, I can't stress that enough. I'm just trying to have an experience here on planet Earth and just learn to the best of my ability and potentially help one or two people along the way. So, but it just seems a little irrational to say that people go to sporting events, they riot and they fight and they kill each other over nothing, but then this other place where there's these things that have these things which actually help build society. Religion is it's a huge part of what religion and spiritual practice that actually helped evolve society. It was one of the cornerstones which built it. It was actually something that only the educated elect had access to for a very long time. And that helped. Those educated elect were the ones that were making the rules, which now we don't even think about. They've just become so normal for ourselves to experience all the time. So when you think about that, to poo-poo something because somebody doesn't like, the message that's in something, that seems a little strange, doesn't it? Why would you poo-poo the message, the thing that what somebody's saying, when it's coming from a standpoint of trying to instill morality and a rational mind within society and how to deal with others in a certain standpoint. I know everybody doesn't take spiritual messages the right way. There are some people out there that shove their beliefs on other. If whatever you're doing, ask permission first. Don't go share your faith and shove it down someone's throat. Ask permission first if you can speak to somebody about something that's helped you. And then if they don't give you the permission, then leave them alone. Don't tell them they're going to burn in hell, because that's not very nice. But then you see how that creates the state of consciousness, which hell, I believe hell and heaven are states of consciousness. So it just seems a little strange to me. Why would you want to shove a negative experience onto somebody? So anyways, just a thought. If soccer pitches or football pitch, sorry, my mind's going a mile a minute, or football stadiums or sporting events, or a riot at a concert, if those things, we just kind of turn a blind eye to that stuff. It's just that's just normal people having fun. Somebody wanted to get a better seat, or somebody liked something somebody else had. We don't think about it. We don't sit there and say, oh, that's stupid. No, because we're going to sit there and say, I want to go to the next concert. It was lit. It was amazing. It was awesome. It was the best thing ever. Oh, it was so crazy. Man, it was crazy. Man, let me film it, and all the stuff you hear. And it just seems a little strange that when somebody comes along and says, hey, treat your neighbor as yourself, that's, then everybody's like, oh, it's a Jewish zombie walking on water, or, oh, it's, this witch talking about, if you, the Wiccan read or whatever, witch or read, however you say it, if you hit somebody, it's going to come back at you 3 times. Oh, don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that in my life. Excuse me, I don't know if I'm saying that I've heard that word that Wicca pronounced Wicca and then Wicca, but maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong, so forgive my ignorance. Anyway, it's just a thought.